Buzz, your girlfriend. Woof.
Hello and welcome to the pond, the strange corner of YouTube, where we do reviews, deep dives, analyze Disney villains, and highlight cows.
Oh, I take it that's the fight? Oh! I was not expecting that. This is not the end.
I'm your host, the Bullfrog, and behind the camera is the one and the only Newt.
Face reveal at 100,000 subscribers.
It's great having you back.
It's good to be back.
Yeah, it's sporadic with him, but we love him for it. Yep. And speaking of sporadic, it's been a while since we did a Disney villain.
Douche chill.
Sorry. Well, holidays are almost like their own section of the year. Am I right, Newt?
Definitely.
But it's worth it, people. And again, I want to say thank you again for that. The month of November alone got us 17,000 views. Aren't you amazing?
Yes! Yes!
You clicked on it, you know the deal. We're analyzing Disney villains. But you gotta remember, this is not by opinion and this is not by a poll. We're doing a formula where there's a mathematical side and a essay side. If you want to know more, go here. We're just basically looking for this. But as a Disney villain. And sit back and relax, because we are back and we are doing Madame Medusa from The Rescuers. Design. After all, we're analyzing Disney animated villains. And let's look at her. Girl, you need some work done. Burn! There's something very blocky about her. I know she's not meant to be attractive, and she thinks she's attractive, hence the reason why she's wearing such a low, revealing dress. And yet, she tries to move, and she thinks she is something. Girl, you're not. You may be Disney's first redhead, ever. This came out before Ariel, people. Other than Ariel, this was their redhead. The second redhead would be Jessica Rabbit. And eerily enough, their colors are the same. The only thing that seems to have a feature about her is her face. I want to say it kind of reminds me of a square block in a way, and the way how she moves her head. There's like a lot of neck action to her movement. She's like this a lot.
I've got to have the devil's eye. Don't have a way with children. Bring her back, boys. Don't tell me it's at last. Not until you get the diamond.
Agree with me or not, put it down in the comments. If you disagree and you say I'm grasping at straws, I think you may be right in this regard. But I'm doing my best. I mean, there's not that much to analyze here other than zoom in on her. She has green eyes. She's a part of the Green Club.
You're in the band.
A lot of Disney villains have a certain theme of green. It has to be small as their eyes or smoke wrapped around them. And here, take a look at the Green Club. Notice there's a lot of prominent characters there, right? So it kind of feels like maybe there's something there. And until our free-for-all, we gotta put these guys here. Maybe the bar will be high for them, or they will deliver a higher bar. We don't know, but we are collecting the greens. And Madame Medusa, you're in there. But we're analyzing Disney villains. So we need to go to the handy-dandy notebook. And she is voiced by Geraldine Page. I hope I'm saying your name right. And this is her performance.
You didn't leave the girl down in the cave long enough. Don't tell me, Snoops. Let me guess. You found it.
Adding that energy to it. And also playing off the manipulation of the voice. When she's mad, she's trying to be, when she's mad and being intimidating and trying to show off, I am woman, hear me roar.
Or you you will never see that teddy again.
She delivers. And also her being soft and sweet.
Gain their confidence. Make them like you.
Paige knows how to be a vocal for a Medusa. And Medusa having a lot more voice than looks, maybe the reason why they called her Medusa in that style. No, think about it, Newt. Does that make a lot more sense?
Yeah, it does, actually.
Actually, that is an interesting thing. It's more about the voice than the looks, because if you look at Medusa, you're dead. This is a very toxic woman. So I like that. You know what? I do like that. So on her design, I give her a 3 out of 4. And we thought of a way how to actually analyze presents. It's a formula. A formula within our own formula.
Like a taco within a taco? A double-decker taco supreme.
And this is the way how we do it. This is how we do it.
Boo!
I need to be shot. Now, Madame Medusa has 3 levels of introduction. And speaking of introduction, if you hear anything above, that's my niece and nephew and my younger brother's dog. And there's no point editing them out, so just embrace them. They're adorable. And her levels of introduction means she has 3 different introductions. The first one is just outright pathetic. All she does is this.
Who could be ringing at this time?
That's it. This is how we first really interact with her. You may say, Bullfrog, actually, before her, there is this moment referencing to her. I know. We'll go more into that in history. But until then, that was a crappy introduction. However, there's her second introduction. And that is this. Dang! You go, girl! Okay, that's upping up the ante. And then her third introduction is very unique. Because we already seen her, we've seen her move, and we've seen everything getting built up. But tell me, when this happens, does it feel like they're introducing a character?
Where is she?
And it's all that smog that's just around her, just adds to it. And it is important. But until we get to that moment, those are her introductions. Then we go to her promise, but her promise is part of her threat. And that is this. She is a personal threat to Penny. That's the promise. That is what she is.
Or you will never see that teddy again.
All right.
And in order to go deeper into this and analyze it, we have to put a pin and wait till analyzing her acts of villainy. I know, that sounds like we're building up to something, and it is building up to something. Am I right, Newt?
Yes, definitely.
But that puts us back to our first pin. Her history, that reference. The rescuers interview the cat of the orphanage. It goes after a scene that is Penny at her most vulnerable.
But they choose the little red-headed girl. She was prettier than me.
You're something extra special.
No, I'm not.
Someday a mama and a papa will come to the orphanage. You're looking for a pretty little girl just like you.
Honest?
Right after that flashback, you just hear what happens next.
Oh, no, it's nothing. Penny wouldn't get in with her.
With who?
Oh, a weird lady tried to give Penny a ride, but she wouldn't have anything to do with trashy people like them.
Trashy people? Who?
She and her partner run a sleazy pawn shop down the street.
Medusa lured Penny away and then kidnapped her. That is the history. We go into the environment. And this is where the characters are, well, how they interact with the scenery and also with the camera and how they affect the moment itself. And this goes into her theme, pollution. What? Am I grasping at straws? Maybe. But watch her.
Where is she?
It looks like there's something a little bit more gassy about her, and not in the sense of Jupiter. And now you're going, okay, this is good presence. Presence is good. Can you finish it? We will. And that is time. Time isn't for the Disney villain and how this will affect them getting grouped in. I mean, this isn't a tier list. No, we're going to try to find out who's number one, which means there's going to be a free-for-all. We're going to compare all the Disney villains and their groups and see what helps them and what hurts them. This is what the numbers are for. This is what time is for. So we're going to see how long she's on screen and see how this will help her. And I'm utterly cheating. The handy dandy notebook. Wide open. I'm a cheater. And for time, she is on screen 11 minutes and 51 seconds, estimatedly. And no way I'm going to close this because I need help. Medusa is a very interesting Disney villain. I can't believe I completely forgot to put her number on what is she on presence. And honestly, I give her a 2. There's a lot there, but she doesn't hold in our memory as much.
No, Snoops!
Her power. She is a Disney villain versus animals, which means thumbs come into play. If you're a Disney villain and you don't interact with animals, these mean nothing. But if you do, these mean something. She also owns a pawn shop in New York. Okay, that speaks levels of money. Not waterfront levels, but yet there's some money there. And she also owns a shotgun. She has fireworks that lights up the sky so she can see everything, and it also is a way to communicate. Again, adding to that theme of pollution. There's also her manipulation and her words. And this is going to add on the build-up to her acts of villainy. So we're going to get there, people. But her words, adding to her power with everything, this may be foreshadowing what she's capable of. And that is her power is a 4. Henchmen. Yes, this can hurt villains. Because with henchmen, they got to be independent, that they can think for their own and interact with everything. But yet, they have to be loyal. So that way, they won't rebel. Because if a henchman rebels, is the villain really effective?
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
So, her henchmen, she has Snoops and her gators, Nero and Brutus. Snoops is pathetic. He's drawn pathetic. His colors are pathetic. His voice is pathetic.
But the water was rising and the tide was coming in, and all she did down there was fuss about her teddy bear getting wet.
Snoops.
And he just looks like something you want to go, really? He can't scare a little girl.
Now you behave or I'll let Nero and Brutus have your old teddy bear.
You will not. Besides, I'm not scared of him like you are, Mr. Snoop.
I'm not saying it's not easy scaring a little girl. I'm an uncle of many nieces and nephews, and some of them have spine that can look at Snoops and go, dude, actually try.
Burn!
And those are the 5-year-olds. You know who I'm referring to, right?
Yep.
But he kind of does grow a spine. He rebels in the end. He laughs at her when he looks like this. Okay, dude. You may be pathetic, and you're laughing at her when you're looking like that. Okay, there's some props. But still, I'm better than you. Nero and Brutus, oh, someone's better than me here. Talk about intimidating. Talk about I can kill you. Talk about we are loyal to her. Why? Because she loves us and she abuses us. Wait a minute. Yeah, weird sentence, but it's true. They love her. They are very affectionate, and she's very affectionate with them. But yet she does hits them, and they can only handle so much. When the climax happens and it comes to the end, they rebel against the abuse. You are food and we are hungry. Her henchmen rebel. But they still do their jobs. They have the means to get the girl. They keep her under her control until she finds help. And throughout all of her ways trying to rebel, these three all together keep Penny in line.
It's that poor little young'un. She's trying to run away again.
Though it's more Nero and Brutus than Snoops.
Why did you have to go and spoil everything?
So there's a halfway mark, so I'll meet you halfway. I'll give you a 2 out of 4.
No, Snoops!
Now, to the moment I've been building up to, the acts of villainy.
Against the possibility that some counselors like seeing their names in print. I'll rule on these tomorrow. Adjourned?
What makes them the villain? What is it that they do? After all, this is what puts them where do they need to go. It begins with Madame Medusa luring Penny away from the orphanage and then kidnapping her, removing her from New York to the bayou, and having Penny being monitored by Nero and Brutus, and Snoops
You have been down there for 3 months.
trying his best to force her down this pirate's cave to get treasure, mainly the devil's eye. That's the whole point.
I've got to have the devil's eye.
Okay, it's sounding a little bit uncomfortable, right? But Penny's rebelling, she's leaving, she's escaping, she's putting notes in bottles, and Madame Medusa says the line has been crossed.
You caught Penny sending messages in bottles? I am taking the next flight down to Devil's Bayou.
I'm going to force her down that cave, and I'm going to do it with love and affection. Yeah, here's where the manipulation factor comes in. Remember history? Remember this scene?
But they choose the little red-headed girl. She was prettier than me.
Now add this to that.
Oh, what would make Auntie Medusa very happy?
That diamond.
That's right. But we must try harder, mustn't we?
And please, will you take me back to the orphanage, like you promised?
Adopted? What makes you think anyone would want a homely little girl like you?
This is hitting the levels of the Coachman. And notice this scene. Sit down and analyze it. Madame Medusa is taking off her makeup, her fake eyelashes. She's removing her lipstick. Normally, when you're removing makeup or removing your armor and putting away your weapons at their most vulnerable. This is what Medusa is. Vulnerable. But what she's doing, she's poking at Penny's vulnerability. Ouch. And to add on to that, she puts Penny in the cave. First, she tries affection.
Poor Teddy. I'll just keep him up here with me where he'll be safe.
Give me back my teddy bear.
Then she just says, do it.
You get down there and find the big diamond, or you will never see that Teddy again.
All right. Please, dummy man. Please pull me up.
Not until you get the diamond.
After that, she has Penny and Snoops in a room, and she's pointing a shotgun at them. I never thought I'd say that for a Disney villain, or in Disney in general. An adult has a gun. No, not a gun, a shotgun. And take a look at that distance. That's not feet. That's probably yards, but it's still not even a football field. That's too close. That is death zone. That is the death zone. To a little girl. And that teddy bear is Penny's security. If she's without Teddy, she's vulnerable. She's trying to remove security. She's trying to remove Penny's defense. Problem is, it's a Disney movie. Normally, when the villain and the hero fight and the villain loses, we gloss over it a bit, in a way. But for Madame Medusa, this kind of highlights into the environment thing that I mentioned, of pollution and her being a corruption. In the end, Penny uses Medusa's powers against Madame Medusa. The fireworks is used against Medusa. Penny's friends uses the abandoned boat against Medusa's henchmen. To then, Penny is the one with the boat. She has all of Medusa's powers. And when Penny is using the boat, it's not as pollutionist. I don't think that is a word. And it's very small compared to Madame Medusa. And Madame Medusa has no choice but to use Penny's powers. She has to use nature to fight with her. Look how she treats nature, her henchmen. It's abuse. No matter how she does it, she can't help but corrupt. When she loses and there's nothing left of her powers other than that smokestack of the boat, she is food for her gators. And Snoops mocks her. He looks like that, and yet he mocks her. She loses everything that she had. But it's interesting that this kind of proves she is pollution.
You know, that's just like your opinion, man.
This is a lot more heavier than you would expect. This is The Rescuers. It's considered one of the most weakest of Disney movies. And yet, look at the depths. And Madame Medusa. That was in the long list. And I think this is the first Disney villain that really points a gun at a child. Can't believe I said that. But really, the person before her was Captain Hook. And that was a cannon aimed at kids, but they're in the clouds. There's a lot more distance compared to this.
Shut up, Snoops, and don't move.
So, after saying all that out loud, I can't help but think maybe Madame Medusa, she's a low red. That's how high she is. She's in the company of the eerie. Ugh. Sorry it's been a while, but we're going to do more Disney villains for the year. But until that time comes, this is the Bullfrog and the Newt signing out. And before you do anything, Newt, viewers, guess what? Our next Disney villain we're announcing. Amos from The Fox and the Hound. It may be a little while, but he's coming in. And after we do his video, we're going to go into the legacy of Bambi's Hunters. The handy dandy notebook. Wide open. I'm a cheater. The difference between me and you is that I admit it. That came out weird. I think we need to keep that.